Checker Pro Joe here on the Checker Pro Radio Show with my good friend from the Wise Attic, Adam Greer. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Jim. How are you?
I am living the dream. Thank you so much for joining me today here on the radio program. You are my go-to guy when it comes to attic efficiency. For people to be comfortable in their home and to save money. And a question's come into the radio program that I must ask you. Are you ready for that?
Sure.
How does proper insulation lower energy bills? Kind of makes sense, right? I think we all know the more insulation we have, the lower the energy bills. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so there's two ways to look at this. Installation certainly helps. You need to have some insulation is 30 years old. You may have gaps even. People getting up there disturbing it. The HVAC guy has disturbed it, moved stuff around. So there's definitely reasons to look at your insulation and make sure that you're sufficient. Insulation does two things. It keeps in and keeps out. So you want enough depth. I call it a heat sponge. So when the heat's in the attic and it's resting on that sponge, it has enough room to be absorbed before it hits your ceiling. That's your first primary use of insulation. And you don't want it to your ceiling because then it radiates in your house. And it also keeps your heat from rising up to the thicker it is, because that's in the wintertime. You want that, you want to trap that heat in your house. But a complementary or even bigger, today's technology has gotten to the point that ventilation is going to be your number one defense. Just picture you have this heat that's sitting up there, and yeah, you can put 20 inches and you're keeping it off your ceiling, but your HVAC unit is suffering, struggling, working hard. You're even making insulation work hard.
Mm.
Okay. And then your roof shingles, they're actually deteriorating if there's a real hot attic from underneath. You're lessening the life of your shingles. So what's the solution? Get the air out of there. You remove the air, you remove the load on your insulation, you remove the load on your system, you remove the load on your shingles. And so the combination, because you can remove the heat if you don't have but 2 inches up there. Of course, you need to get at least to 6 to 8 inches at minimum. But good level, no gaps insulation with ventilation, proper ventilation is going to be your biggest bang for the buck, because the HVAC system is going to save you money not working overtime, not replacing your shingles. Maybe you're getting 4 or 5 more years than you would have. So you start looking at the bigger picture financially, utilities, maintenance, shingles, all of the above. You're going to make sure both of them are doing their job and doing it correctly in tandem.
I like what you said, big bang for the buck. The return on investment is huge
Right.
because it goes in quickly. It keeps the heat up in the summertime where it needs to be on the other side of the house,
Yeah.
and going to extend the life of everything from your roof shingles to your air conditioning system and so forth. All of that is important for your home.
Yeah. People will think naturally, I just need to get brain in.
Mm.
Even like people bring up the question about radiating barrier. Should we do it? My answer is no on that. I really think that's the last thing to even look at. There's not a lot of ROI, and it's a retrofit scenario. If you get a new roof deck, that's when it makes the most sense. But even if you stop the sun from penetrating, and maybe you're holding back 70%, you know, you still got some sun penetrating, but what you still have is the heat from the house is rising in the attic, the heat from your unit is being produced, sidewalls are, so you have a lot of heat source still coming into the attic. And so even if you kill some of that sun, get rid of that heat. That really is going to be the number one defense in your attic. Are you moving enough air? You want a certain amount of exchanges of air per hour to get that attic cleaned out. And so a 30-watt solar fan, for example, 6 exchanges per hour. You're just bringing in fresh air all the time.
Yeah, so the insulation helps to keep the heat out. At the same time, a solar attic fan or any type of ventilation is going to pull the heat out, and
Yeah.
so it's a combination of things. It's the ventilation of having the coolest air you can against your sponge.
Yeah. And it creates, that heat, if it has nowhere to go by midday, it actually kind of creates a dam in the attic. So the heat in the house now can't really rise up into your attic. So it stays trapped in your home. That's where you start pushing the button to try to get your AC to work a little bit differently. But if you're creating that gap, the heat still can fill the attic all day long.
Adam, Thank you so much for joining me today here on Check a Pro Radio. I really appreciate it. Great advice.
It's my pleasure. Always love to help.